Hi again, everybody. Welcome to the Let's Rain podcast, where you get to know Bearcats students, coaches, and administrators. I'm your host, Dan Hoard. Our guest on this episode is the women's golf coach at the University of Cincinnati, Aimee Ponte, the youngest head coach here at UC. Yeah. What made you want to get into coaching?
My coach in college. I think, every young person's dream when they, become decent at a sport, they want to play professional. And that was kind of mine for a long time. And I knew I wanted to come out here to America, get my degree, and play competitively. And I think up until about my junior year, I still had that goal of playing professional golf. And then something started clicking with, my teammates kept asking me for like swing stuff. And I kind of got an itch and like an eye for the golf swing. And then just being around my coach, she changed me as a person, and so that's when I think kind of first semester of my senior year, I was like, I want to be her. I want to do anything that I can at least be a little bit like her, because she impacted my life so much as a young person that I thought, at first I thought maybe go down the instructor route. And I just didn't, I like that because I love golf swings and I love helping people, but, I don't love that maybe I don't see these people as often as I would like. And so, and I thought it was going to be tricky just getting into coaching anyway. I didn't want to leave San Antonio, which is where I went to school. And just the thought of leaving, I was like, I don't think I can do that. I wasn't ready. But yeah, I got into coaching because of her. I just wanted to be like her and at least make an impact on young people's lives the way she did to mine. So I'm so glad I did.
It's a great coach.
yeah, she's fantastic. She isn't in coaching anymore. She had young kids, but she would be she's phenomenal. She really is.
Where were you born and raised?
I was born on this small island off the south coast of England called Guernsey. There's two islands right next to each other, Guernsey and Jersey. Most people have heard of Jersey for some reason, even though they're bigger, we're kind of rivals with them. But it's a really small place, 25 square miles, 2 golf courses, about 65,000 people, so everybody knows everybody. I just went back not too long ago for the first time in quite a few years, and it's one of those places that doesn't change with the time. It is kind of an old school, old kind of UK vibe place where everyone knows everyone, and there's really not many places in this country that genuinely everyone knows anyone, unless it's a small place. So I loved growing up there. It was amazing, super safe, but I always knew I wanted to be somewhere bigger with kind of endless possibilities. I always felt very limited there, but it's a pretty beautiful place. Just the weather is not. It's UK weather. It's a little fuzzy.
Well, it's at this time of year, it's not exactly Shangri-La in Cincinnati.
No, but at least you get the seasons here. That's what I like.
We do get that.
In the UK, it could be July and 40s and raining sideways.
Sounds dreary.
Very.
We've watched enough Open Championships to know that at any given time the weather's terrible.
It could be beautiful, or it could be 40s and freezing, and you're wearing, clothes like we're wearing today.
How old were you when somebody put a club in your hands?
I was about, I think 5 or 6, but I played a lot of sports growing up. I was really big into soccer. Just being born and raised in the UK, that is our sport. We love soccer. Didn't really think about golf much. I did a little bit of everything, and it wasn't until I was about 10 or 11, my parents kind of sat me down and they were like, okay, you're not going to do 5 things and be average at it. Pick one of them. We don't care what it is. And that's what you're going to decide to do. And everyone kind of just thought I'd go down the soccer route because I lived and breathed soccer. I was obsessed. I thought about it all the time. I couldn't wait to go home from school so I could go grab my football, what we call it a soccer ball, and I can go to the park and play with my friends, and didn't really think about golf. And that day I was like, okay, sure, I'll play golf. And it kind of, mouths dropped down and nobody could believe it. And I don't even know why to this day I picked golf. It was fun and I had a kind of a natural ability at it, but but yeah, it was ever since that day I kind of quit everything else, and that is all I did.
You chose wisely. It's a game for life.
It is. I mean, it is. I'm biased, but I just think it's one of the best sports out there. I mean, you really can play it a long time, and even if you don't do it competitively, it's such a social sport. And yeah, it takes longer than most sports, but you can go and hang out with friends and make a whole day of it. And I just think that is such a neat skill, and it's such a difficult sport too, but there's an addictive aspect to it that you might hit 100 golf balls, but you hit one solid, and that's why you go back tomorrow.
No
so
doubt.
You can do that again, and it's just like, and it's one of those things where no matter, you can work harder than everybody, you can practice more than anybody else, but that does not correlate to your score. You can still go shoot much higher than you want, and it's just a game that nobody's figured out. It's an interesting, I say it all the time, I don't know why we do this. I mean, I say it to my players all the time. I mean, why are we doing this? And then you come back the next day and it's like, wow, this is it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that we're not the only ones that experience that.
Well, you described my exact ratio, one good shot out of 100. So thank you for
I'm
mentioning
sure it's
that.
a lot more than that. It's got to be.
So Doug Martin, the men's golf coach, was my guest on this podcast recently. He's been the head coach at UC for 16 years. This is your second year. Tell me a little bit about your relationship with Doug and the men's and women's programs here working together.
Yeah, I mean, we could not be more opposite people. In a lot of ways, but kind of ever since I got the job, the moment I got the job, I mean, he was the first one to call me. We spent a lot of, I mean, I didn't move up here for a couple of weeks until after I got the job, and we probably spoke for hours, most days, every day, just getting to know each other, and just, he wanted to bounce ideas off of me kind of right away, and we have a great relationship. I think he is such an experienced person, and just with our age difference, he has seen so many more different things than I have, and I give him a hard time all the time just about being old school and being the way he is, and I think he appreciates that. I mean, it's different, and I joke with him about a couple years ago, did you imagine you'd have a friend like this? And then he's like, no, I didn't. So but it's great. I really appreciate him, and I think he's already kind of added so much, and I take so much from him on what he does with his guys. Men and women are very different, and obviously, coaching a men's team is very different to coaching a women's team, but just drills and the way he kind of goes about it more at the indoor. He's a lot more used to putting a practice together inside. All I know is Texas, and I've never had to practice inside before, and that's been an adjustment, especially my first year. Like, how do I keep these kids engaged for 3 hours inside? I can do that on a golf course, but I struggled a lot. Kind of my first January. He's fantastic. He is such a cool dude, and I like to ask him a lot of questions, even though he doesn't love talking about his past. I watched his podcast, and it's so true. He never brings up what he's done in his life, but he's done some things.
He sure has.
And I think anyone in the golf world that just knows that about him, if you have kind of an extra 5-10 minutes to just ask him some questions, it's pretty amazing, like what he'll tell you and what he's done.
You mentioned practicing indoors. The men's and women's program have a new facility, high tech, all sorts of sensors to measure every possible thing. How has that impacted your players? Yeah,
it's huge. It really is kind of instrumental to our program. We would not function without it. I mean, we still use it in the fall, even though the weather is perfect here, just to go in and collect data and check on some things and check numbers. But it's fantastic. I mean, I'm very fortunate because I walked into this. I haven't experienced being here without having this indoors, so I can't really relate to Doug and talk about the change in that sense. But at least for us, like, we are still able to get better, even though we are an outdoor sport. And, you know, our sport is not on campus. You know, we have to travel to go to practice and stuff. But kind of similar to the boys team, you know, we take training trips. We just came back from one. So we're very fortunate in that sense that we can actually get better in there. The only thing we can't do is hit bunker shots. But we can do everything else. You know, we just don't have a sand pit. But, you know, there's always ways to make things work. So it's fantastic. I'm so grateful that we have it, and our kids love it. And I think the main idea of it was to have a space where they can kind of call home. You know, we are members at golf courses and we go there to practice, but you know, we're always very mindful of the membership and not trying to take up too much space and being courteous. But here, I mean, they can be themselves and they can wear what they want and be comfortable. And I think that's the beauty of it too. It's a little different than the kind of the traditional side of practice, you know, where you're wearing golf shoes and being comfortable. But yeah, they show up in sweatpants and and hoodies.
College students.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I know they love that part, that they don't have to wear golf clothes and tuck in their shirt and wear a belt. So, but we love it.
Where do you practice and play outdoors?
Lassanaville mainly. We do play quite a bit. We have played quite a bit at Clovernook, which we love. They are both great with us. They're both totally different golf courses. Clovernook's a little bit more flatter than Lassanaville. So I guess it just kind of depends like what we're about to play in an event. I'll kind of tailor practice around that, you know, depending on where, what we're going to face, speed of the greens, undulation. Lassanaville, every green pretty much is back to front. Have you played Lassanaville?
I have.
Yeah, so you know the drill. Clovernook's a little bit more that traditional style, undulations but relatively flat. Lassanaville, you can't go long. So, and that's we play golf courses like that. You know, it's not easy, and I think if you can play well around Lassanaville, you can play well anywhere, because Lassanaville is tricky. It really is. So, but we love it there. It's they're great to us. We have our own little chipping and pitching area that's just ours with flags that for us. So we spend a lot of time out there in the fall. Hopefully we'll get out there. I'm hoping beginning of February, but the way things are looking like right now, I don't know. But hopefully we'll be out there soon.
How challenging is it to be one of the most northern schools in the Big 12?
I think that is a big challenge, only because I do know what it's like to be to be in Texas and live in Texas, where, of course, for us to play outside all year round, it is a huge bonus. I think it is a little bit of a challenge, but you know, I don't think that's an excuse, or I don't think that is a reason why we can't be one of the best schools in the Big 12. I just think that fits our culture now within this team, that we're kind of underdogs and we're rough around the edges, and that we, I just think that is so fitting for us, and kind of the atmosphere, just even within the building, you know, and I don't mind that at all. And there are tons of northern schools that are in the same boat as us, and find a way, and training trips are huge. I mean, the fact that we can take those are massive, and we get to still play, obviously not every day, but we still get to play outside and practice outside, and when we do, it's a lot more productive than, let's say, I don't know, 2 weeks at home where the sun is shining and the weather is nice. You can fit a lot more in say 3 or 4 days of a training trip where everyone knows this is why we're here, you know, and versus just, you know, not having to be in that situation. So it's definitely a challenge, but it's something that we're working through, and I always like to do different things, and I don't like to stick to the same thing, and I'm not overly traditional, so I like to find a lot of ways on how we can get better and how we can even enhance that indoor even more. I mean, Doug and I are always bouncing ideas of like, well, what if we did this and what if we did that? And it takes a lot of planning, which I don't love to do, but I like to just throw the ideas out there. But I think it's just something that we work through, and we'll manage just fine.
Your roster has an international flavor. I see Taiwan, Spain, Italy, Morocco. Yes. How do you go about attracting players from all over the world to come to UC?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I enjoy doing. I mean, I'm European myself, so I do like going down that route. I think I have a connection with internationals just because I am an international, and I know what it's like to be on the other side of the world from your family. I think that is such a hard transition, not just for a local kid, whether you're from Ohio or from the tri-state or even from this country. I think it's a challenge for everybody, but to have someone that understands what it's like to be so far from home that it's like, you know, at least for me, when I was a player in college, that was my family, and I saw my coach as like my family, and if you can kind of have that trust, whether if I'm an American or an international, I think that makes such a huge difference in their experience in college. But recruiting internationally for me is just over time developed a lot of relationships with all of the recruits I get are from having relationships with other people that I trust and that kind of send students my way, and you know, I know what I'm going to get with them almost, you know, of like a international kid is willing to move from their country, that their main language is not English, and is willing to come across the other side of the world and get a degree in English. I just think that says a lot. I say it all the time, especially to our Taiwanese kids, of like, I cannot believe you are getting a degree in a language that is not your first language. I mean, it just blows my mind, you know, and I just think they're so special. And I think when you put Americans and internationals in a room together, sometimes it doesn't make sense on paper, but they have all become so bonded and are such good friends, and I just think you can learn so much from different cultures, you know, and being around each other so much that, you know, you take things from everyone, and now all of a sudden, you know, you learn, and we have one American kid right now, and she's learning little bits of different languages, you know, and I just think that is so cool, and a couple of years ago she would have never have pictured herself in this spot, and now she's got Taiwanese friends, she's got an Italian friend, she's got a Spanish friend, she's got a Moroccan friend. I mean, it's you just can't make it up, you know, and you don't ever picture yourself in this spot. But I just want to give my players the best experience, and I think being around different people and different cultures, you can just learn so much, you know, and how different people live their lives, you know, that's not the same as yours.
I know it varies from player to player, but what is the gist of your recruiting pitch to a potential golfer to come to Cincinnati?
So I go after more the family and kind of their background, wherever they're from. I think now with talent, it's all relatively the same. I mean, you could have 100 kids that have a similar scoring average and play in all similar events, and my philosophy, I almost think about it as, even though, you know, I'm not a basketball coach or I'm not a football coach, but I almost think about it in the sense of like positions. Even though on a golf team you don't have positions, but I think about it like that, and in the sense of personalities. So, you know, you could have 10 players that are right around the same ability-wise and physical ability, but which couple personalities are we missing on our team? Because that's, I've learned since being here that culture makes or breaks the program, and just in our building this new culture, it is all about personalities. Like, it's fantastic and such a difficult thing at the same time, but putting personalities together is kind of what I enjoy about recruiting, because the technical part of it, and I can sit for hours looking at golf swings, but I mean, you play golf, you know, it doesn't matter what it looks like. At the end of the day, it's the score on the scorecard, and it doesn't matter how you make a 4, but it's a 4, you know, and I think sometimes other coaches, you know, they do look at that a lot, and they do look at scoring averages, and that's fine, and that's our nature, and that's the game we play, but when you put all that aside, it's personalities and which ones vibe with me and I vibe with. And I think that is so important versus getting a stud that maybe, you know, we don't necessarily, I don't know, have a ton in common, or just not on the same wavelength. That person is not necessarily going to fit in here. They'll help the team, and we might move from here to here, and that's amazing, but what is that worth, And I think at this point, where this program is right now, it's all about the culture. So I've kind of changed my recruiting a little bit, just because I've had to, and I want this to be the best environment that these kids have ever been in, and we're getting there, and it's been a journey, but it's been really fun, and I've learned a lot and experienced things that I didn't think I would, but that's the nature of this job and this career, and I think culture is such a big piece of it. So yeah, I attack more personalities, and then going deeper into that, I like to talk to the parents a lot, and I like to know what they have to say about their daughter, and I think that says a lot too, because those parents, I'm going to have to deal with those parents, so we better be on the same page and have that relationship, and not, okay, the player comes to me and everything's great, and then when something isn't great, I hear from them and they don't really know me, and they don't know where I'm coming from or why I've made this decision, and I think that just makes a huge difference. So kind of altered my recruiting a little bit, but it's all going to work out. I think it's for the best.
It's all about fit.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about fit. I truly believe that. And on all great teams, they all fit. So.
Your spring season gets underway soon.
Yes.
What are your hopes and goals for the upcoming spring?
We've got some good ones. I mean, we set some goals at the beginning of the year in August, and we actually accomplished a few of those. But I think our goals pretty much stay the same. I mean, we want to continue to come top 5 in all of our events. We've got a little bit of a more challenging schedule, but that doesn't kind of let us shy away. I mean, we like to play against schools that are better than us and are more top heavy than we are. But I think this semester, we want to get out of this mindset of we're new in this conference and big teams scare us, because they don't anymore. And with this kind of new group, we've really pushed boundaries with them, in the sense of like, they've never been in this position before. I mean, neither have I. I talk about it with them all the time. I am the same as you. I mean, we're not that different. I'm just a few years older. But I've never been in this position, and neither have you. And this is a great thing. And I think we're kind of moving past this logo, this logo on our arm that is so daunting. And so now it's like, okay, we're here, and what can we do versus what are we going to do? But we've got some big goals, and I think some good stuff is going to come out of this group. Our environment's just totally different, and the atmosphere is just amazing and electric, and they're all bonding so well, and when that happens, I mean, good things happen from that. So we're excited. Yeah, we start off in about a week, just over a week. So we're looking forward to it.
Aimee, this has been great. Enjoyed catching up. Best of luck this spring.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks. Our guest on this episode is the new women's volleyball coach at the University of Cincinnati, Danijela Tomić. What appealed to you about coming here to UC from Bowling Green?
Well, a few things. I love to build programs. I love to see the progress. My whole career, I took programs that were not at the top of the conference, they were on the bottom, and built them in a championship program. And that's something that I wanted to do at the highest level. So the Big 12 conference was appealing. The potential of Cincinnati volleyball, the university, the city, I just see a lot of potential there. And I wanted a new challenge. I wanted to see, can I do what I've done my whole career, build another championship program in the Big 12. So that summarizes what was appealing.
I watched your introductory news conference. I thought there was a part in there that was really interesting where you spoke about living the American dream. You did talk about your experience of coming to the U.S. to play volleyball at the University of Little Rock and how it's changed your life.
It's changed my life. It was one of the best decisions I have made. I think the best decision I have made was choosing to falling in love with volleyball. I think I wouldn't be sitting here without a game of volleyball. And that happened very early. I was 9 or 10 when I saw volleyball for the first time in my village in Bosnia-Herzegovina. And then making a decision to come to the United States and have an opportunity to finish my studying. I was a transfer student while playing volleyball. And then thankfully my college coach, Coach Compton, saw something in me and kept me as an assistant. And here I am now. And the American dream, right? I came without speaking English. That's something people maybe don't know. I studied French in middle school, high school. Can't speak a word right now, but I had to learn English when I came here, and I don't know what else, how much better you can describe the American dream, but I had opportunities were given to me, and by some wonderful people that I seized, and I'm sitting now here talking with you at University of Cincinnati. This August is going to be 30th year since I came to the United States, 20 years as a head coach. And if somebody asked me, I don't know, over 30 years ago, what I would be doing now, I don't think I could even have imagined the life that I've lived through volleyball. So, yeah.
How did you learn English, and how quickly did you take to it?
I'm fortunate when you come as a student athlete, you have a team right away. I was also fortunate, my alma mater, University of Arkansas Little Rock, had a great, at that time it was called Intensive English Language Program, ESL. So my first semester I spent just studying. I had classes, I had a grammar, listening and writing, reading and vocabulary. And then, of course, you're immersed into the team that everybody speaks English. One of my roommates was from California, and I had another one who was from Croatia. So she served as my translator. It helped a lot that she was with me. I picked it up pretty fast, understanding, and I had better listening and skills because American culture is very influential all over the world. So the movies, the music, I could understand a little bit better than speaking. And speaking took a little bit longer, but by the second semester I was able to communicate. And volleyball is volleyball. That was kind of easy. Like I knew I could play. And the language came pretty fast. And I was fortunate to have great teachers in ILP, and I love to read also, so my vocabulary has been increasing with reading, and so yeah.
Do you still have a lot of family back home, and do you ever get back?
I go once a year, at least once a year. My mom still lives there, and one sister lives in Bosnia and Herzegovina, so I go and visit. I spend my vacation when in June. That's usually my time. I don't know how it's going to be now with the first few years
Year
here.
one, yeah.
Yeah, but I go to visit my family. I have a sister who lives in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I have a brother who lives in Mississauga, Ontario. So three of us are in North America, and still a lot of family in Bosnia. It's always nice to go. I'm proud of my roots, but I'm proud of being an American citizen. That happened in 2017, and I love my adopted country.
You have an impressive list of accomplishments. You've been the coach of the year for your school on 6 different occasions in 2 different leagues, 8 MAC championships, and 5 NCAA tournament appearances. You've coached 9 All-Americans. You've won nearly 400 matches in your coaching career. What accomplishments are you most proud of?
Those are records. I believe I spoke about that during my press conference. I truly don't keep a track of my record wins and losses. And I say, if that's what I'm going to be remembered when I'm done with all this coaching, career, I failed. To me, the biggest accomplishments are the players, the impact that I feel, I hope I've made on my players, helping them have, first of all, great experience while they are in college and during those very important formative years, helping them accomplish their goals, their dreams, helping them grow as people, yes, we want to, win and get better on the volleyball court. That's always a mission, but that's a short kind of finite game that one day is going to be over. How I look is the infinite game of life. Can I play a small role in helping them figure out life and preparing them to be very successful, whatever they choose to do after college. And while we are doing that, we still want to win and have fun. So those relationships, to summarize, is just those relationships that I develop with players, their families, and having those relationships last much longer than just 4 years while they're in college under my guidance as a coach. Those are my biggest successes.
Not a small role, it's a very big role. How would you describe your coaching style? I'm pretty, I think my players know where they stand with me, so the communication, I think I communicate well. Mm-hmm. They know there's clarity. There's no, I don't know what coach thinks. They'll hear what I think. I like to develop volleyball players. I think, specializing comes, of course, in college it's going to happen, but fundamentals need to be there, sound fundamentals. The team knows that I'm all about the team. This job is not about me. I'm there to guide them, and how do we become best as a team? Asking players to surrender what maybe they want for themselves, for what a team needs. That's important to me. Have those type of athletes on a program, and I don't know the other way to build championship program, but having selfless players who want to be the best for the team, not necessarily best on the team. I think there's that mindset is different. I think I'm. What I was told, my players describe me as empowering. I want our players to feel that they can accomplish anything they set their mind to, but also work hard for that. I think I'm a good motivator. I can be fiery, but I can also, my demeanor on the bench is pretty calm. In the gym during practice, I love good defense. I love good offense. I love, a team competing and being fearless. So it's not a secret. I think every coach that you've talked with who has been successful, the same thread goes through those programs. So that's kind of my philosophy. I just want good people, good character, who also want to be great teammates. You haven't been on the job here for very long, but does anything stand out from your initial weeks in Cincinnati?
I was, when I was going through the process of making a decision if the opportunity was presented to me to be the head coach at Cincinnati, I called some people and everybody said, people here are very nice, because that's something that I left in Bowling Green. We built a great community around our volleyball program there, and I made lifelong friends. And I would not have made that move if I didn't think that I'm going to have the quality of people here and the leadership that I need to build again a championship program. And that has been very clearly shown from the day one, just how approachable people are helping, asking, do you need anything? How can we help? It feels like a great team, and we are so fortunate to be in this building here. I see the coaches, the athletes. That's a little bit unusual. Just see athletes coming in and out, and other coaches, administrators. It's been pretty nice. I really don't care about this winter right now, but it makes me, feel better knowing that the whole world is cold. It's snowing in Florida and Texas, mm-hmm. but it's Ohio. But the people, again, it boils down to the quality of people.
By July 1st, I'm sure all the snow will be gone. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I hope it's going to be before July 1st.
So when a lot of people think about University of Cincinnati women's volleyball right now, the first name that comes to mind is Jordan Thompson.
Sure.
Member of the last 2 Olympic teams, a gold medal, a silver medal, inducted into the UC Athletics Hall of Fame earlier this year. Does her high profile help in your efforts to build a championship team?
Definitely, hopefully, yes. The short answer is yes. To know that you can develop in that caliber of a player that, accomplish things that Jordan has accomplished, it's pretty amazing, and it's a great story to tell, right? I had a privilege, actually. We played when Jordan was playing here with my old team, and we lost. She was very good. She was a big reason why we lost. So Jordan is a great alumni that we're going to tell the stories, but I cannot wait to meet other alumni. I think it's very important to recognize the history of the program, all of those who came before us, who came before Jordan, and hopefully we'll have, my goal is to bring new Bearcats here who will break records and win championships and become All-Americans. So hopefully future Olympians and so on. But I really look forward to connecting with Jordan and with other alumni who made a big mark on Cincinnati's volleyball program.
Do you have any specific goals for your first year?
It's the first year. It's really establishing the culture, an identity of the program. Who do we want to become? I think that's important. We already started. This is the first week of us coaches being in the gym with the team, getting to know them, developing those relationships. But also, the plan is to discuss who do we want to become. What do we want Cincinnati volleyball when other teams we play, when our fans talk about Cincinnati volleyball, what do we want them to say? Like, how would they describe us? Who do we want to be, right? So that's part of building that culture and identity, and I look forward. That's actually one of my favorite parts of my role as a head coach. Then recruiting, of course. I'm hiring the last assistant. That's the next step. And then recruiting never stops. It's an ongoing thing, and we need to recruit some positions, add some depth this year. And I always tell every recruiting class, my job is next year I'm going to try to recruit better players than you, because rising tide lifts all boats. The better we come, the better gym environment we have throughout the week, the program is going to go to the next level. And so those are the things. So culture, establishing the building blocks of who we want to be, create a great staff, and then recruiting.
You're involved with a nonprofit organization called We Coach. Explain what that's all about.
It's an organization that helps advance women in coaching, just helps with leadership, with education. I've been fortunate to have some strong role models again. The first female coach in my life was my college coach in Little Rock. I didn't have those models, and I think it's important to lift others as we rise through the ranks. But also, I believe we have to work together. We need to have advocates and people who will help young women if they want to go into coaching and stay in coaching. I think we need to have resources to help them in that. So We Coach organization does that for female coaches, but we need allies in men coaches, because we're in this together. I don't think we can do it just all alone.
You mentioned becoming captivated with volleyball as a 9-year-old. What is it about this sport that you love so much? It's, many team sport coaches will tell you it's an ultimate team sport, right? What's unique about volleyball, you really cannot do it by yourself. I mean, that first contact, you need a pass for the setter to set, for the hitter to hit. And it's on a small space, right? Our court is not big for 6 people.
I always like to talk about bettering each other, and that's what you have to do to be very good in volleyball. It's bettering each contact, bettering each other. You also, nothing against basketball. I love basketball. I have great basketball coaches, friends, but in volleyball you cannot take the ball and dribble from one end to the other and score. On the volleyball court, you need your teammates. You need your teammates, and everything happens really fast. So the reaction, and in volleyball, there's always somebody scores. Somebody wins, somebody loses. In other sports, you can have a possession and nobody scores. In volleyball, there is always a point for one side. And I don't know, it's intriguing, it's captivating. I think it's a lot of metaphors that you can use it as a game of volleyball that teaches about life, right? You lose a point, here we go, next opportunity, right? You can see it as a game of errors, or you can see it as a game of opportunity. Every time you have a chance to play a point, it can be the best point that you have played in your life. So it's pretty cool, right? We can wake up this morning and say, you know what, this is going to be the best day of my life. And that's kind of that, like, just 1 point at a time, 1 point at a time, 1 day at a time. So it's a great game. It's a great game.
This has been fun. Welcome to Cincinnati. Best of luck going forward. Great meeting you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
And I hope we see a lot of Bearcat fans this fall coming and supporting our team.
I hope so too.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for checking out the Let's Rain podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe, and go Bearcats.